Before we can do that, we need to implement the add user method. So let me collapse my outlines. So we need to implement add user. So for this, the only variables that we'll end up having will be our DB parameter collection. So we will do setup. So parameters will equal build parameters passing in the template. And once we have that, we will do the insert, which will require our DB connection, con, our DB command, cmd, cmd dot command text. So insert into user, square brackets, first name, last name, email, address, username, password, date created, date modified. Space plus values of first name, last name, email address, username, password, date created, modified. Now you'll notice here that my parameter names don't match my field names. They do not have to. They're variables just like anything else. I typically choose to make them match just so that way it's easy to know which parameter goes with which field, but it's not necessary. So just as a side note. All right, so cmd.parameters.add range. And this will take what it refers to as an array of values. We're going to pass in those parameters that we built from build parameters. So now we're going to execute the insert. Oh, really? Okay, we'll come back to that in a minute. So we'll do a try catch block again. So we'll do con.open, cmd.execute. We can execute a non-query, or we can execute reader again like we did last time. DB data reader. And if we do that, we're going to want to do one more thing. And then we will map from SQL reader. This will give us back a list of user. I'm only interested in one user. So I'm going to say if map results dot length, dot count equals 1. I know that's at the bottom, sorry. Return map results 0, else throw new application exception, too many results from the at insert SQL insert. All right. So the last thing I want to do in our command text is I want to end up, and I actually want to return. So I'm going to select all from user where ID equals identity, just like we did last week. And that will return to us the record that we just recently inserted into the database. All right, so we need to address build parameters and add range. So add range takes an array of values, but it's vague. It's non-specific. We don't really know what that means. I was trying to use DB parameter collection, but that's not really working for us. So instead, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do DB parameter array. So that made this line of .NET framework code happy, but it made my code sad. So I need to change my return type to be DB parameter array. And luckily for me, I haven't written anything, so that's not a problem. So the way that this is going to work is that we need to create a database parameter for every property in our object. The easiest way to do this, it's not the most elegant, but the easiest way to do it is to simply say DB parameter array params, actually params is a keyword, param singular equals new DB parameter, square brackets, curly braces, semicolon. Then what I'm going to do in here is I'm going to say new, and because this is SQL, I have to make it SQL specific, SQL parameter. And I'm going to say first name, user obj.first name, comma. And what I'm actually doing here is I'm creating an array of objects by inline instantiating each object one at a time, and then packing it into a new array of objects. So each one of these lines of new SQL parameter, this becomes array position 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right inside the array. It all gets compiled together, packed up, and then I just get back a nice little array of parameters. No muss, no fuss. If I can use my Mac keyboard for Windows, last name, email, username, password, date created, date modified. If you hold down the Alt key, you can drag and select, like so. Do a vertical selection, Control C. And then click, drag, and select with my Alt key again, like so. Control V. So I did a vertical selection and copy and a vertical selection and paste. I didn't have to type it again. That wasn't the most elegant one, but it got the job done. This is called email address, so I have to fix that. And then here I can say return param. Okay. So that'll get me my parameters built. Oh, I actually forgot the most obvious one. ID. You may be thinking, well, you don't need the ID for the insert. Correct. But we do need it later for the update. Okay, so what else? The compiler say I'm missing anything? Nope. All right, let's give it a whirl. Start. Add. Overflow. Okay, that was the thing I was forgetting. Last piece, so in the add user, we're getting in this template user. We're not actually defining the date created and date modified. So in here, I'm going to do date stamping. There are two P's in stamping. Template dot date created equals template dot date modified equals new date time. Actually, I'm going to do date time dot now. So I'm taking whatever time it is right now when that method is called, I'm injecting it into the user object, and then I'm moving on. The problem is that if I don't do this, the new user object has a date timestamp of January 1st, year 0. And it doesn't like that. Steve Jobs, steve@me.com. Submit. Oh, forgot to close my window. And there is my second record. Right click on my database table, show table data, refresh. There it is. Okay.